What is up, guys? DiplexHeated here again. Welcome back to Men of War Assault Squad 2. I have designed a special map for a very special video. Welcome to a challenge between the three allied nations. We have the US, the British, and the Soviets. They have to clear a varied map with different obstacles and different terrain in order to claim victory. The first to get to the last part into the winning circle will secure first place. We're going to see who comes second and third. So this map is going to challenge the different weapons that all the nations have in different ways. So the first part is a landing part, okay, with a beach and a few different levels, with a bunker and some machine gunners. Once they've cleared that out, they're going to move over to the next part, which is called the Gauntlet, which is a very long stretch of land. It's like a long, wide corridor with varying defenses and defenders. Then, once they've cleared this section, and by the way, the map gets harder and harder as they go. We add more troops, and we change up the weapons. Once they've cleared this gauntlet, they're going to cross that black line and meet the next tier of infantry that is going to have better weapons. The MP40 has been swapped out for the STG-44, the MG-34 has been swapped out for the MG-42, and the K98 has been swapped out for the the Gewehr 43. So once again, you've noticed the difference in terrain here. There are some close quarters, there are some long stretches. There's just a variety of like combat width and distance that is going to put the different weapons to test. The last and final sector is divided into two parts, one easier and one harder, with more troops, more cover, and shorter distance. That's going to allow the Germans to do more damage before finally getting here to the final part. Once again, guys, super excited for this scenario. Three identical arenas with identical defenders, identical numbers for the attackers. The only thing that is different are their weapons. So, the way this has been designed is to allow perhaps certain teams the advantage in certain situations, like the Brits with the Lee Enfield at this range is going to be excellent. Keep in mind, the PPSH and the DP28 that has a higher magazine capacity than the other two nations are going to do better up close. Not to mention the fact that the US is the only team here, part of the attackers, that have the semi-automatic rifle. How will that perform in closer quarter combat, one could say? Most of this is close quarter combat, but still. I am so excited, guys. Let's get the game started. All right, guys, it is time. We start this competition between allied nations. If you guys want to see another edition of this with perhaps the top three Axis powers, let me know, and I can do it. I'm just interested in kind of seeing how we can take Men of War and do more unique things, more special battles and experiences. I think this was going to be one of the first of many to come. So, guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and click that start button. All right, guys, the game has begun. We're going to begin by following the action here in the US arena, the left arena. Then we're going to skip over to the British one in the center, ending with the Soviet one in the far right. We're going to have the minimap enabled so that you guys can see what's going on. And here comes the first load of infantry. There are 10 total waves divided into 3 sections of 3, 3, and 4, with 2 minutes pause in between each section. Guys, wish the soldiers in today's Nation Cup good luck, because they're gonna need it. The first troops are setting foot on the beach, and the German teams will open up momentarily. A lot of suppressing fire on that bunker. One MG gunner down. That's a good start. Okay, we have a few men struggling out here in the water, but the rest are looking pretty action ready, moving up slowly. I'm seeing more progress here in the center arena with the Brits. They've already made it up to the second level. The Lee Enfields are devastating rifles in this case. Now, do keep in mind, all three nations, what really separates them are their weaponry. So we have the somewhat similar submachine guns of the British and US team with the 30-round capacity. The Soviets have the most ammunition for their automatic weapons, being the PPSH and the DP28. 50 rounds per gun, I do believe. But the Americans having the lowest ammo count for their support weapon, which is the Browning automatic rifle. They on the other hand is the only team with a semi-automatic rifle. So in many ways, all teams have their ups and downs. But the Soviets have already captured the top level. They've been fast. They've stormed through this arena, losing very little men. And they are moving on to the second part now, which is about to be the gauntlet that you can see here in the middle of the map. The Brits have also cleared out the top layer here of the first part and are moving into the first corner section, where we have a few corner machine gunners or submachine gunners that are in very simple positions, but with this type of weaponry in this small area, they are excellent defenders. And you're going to see that the enemy is going to have some hard times getting through these guys. They really need to mass infantry to bring some fire on them. The Americans are currently last, but they are about to clear the top level. They're taking it a little bit slower, but I reckon their number of casualties are about even to the other two teams. Once again, everything is completely even. Everything is evenly scripted, evenly numbered, and structured. So there's no difference whatsoever in between the different arenas. So the Americans are just clearing this out, and they are about to head into the first part of the second section. I call this the gauntlet. It is a very long stretch of... it's a long stretch to cover, and the Brits are first to enter, having killed the first two riflemen. There's an MG-34 in the rear there, as previously mentioned, and they're sending just a few men at a time. The rest are sort of getting organized, reloading, and getting any wounds patched up. The third and final wave from this first section has been deployed, so there's going to be a 2-minute pause now before the next 3 waves arrive. We have the Soviets massing a few more troops up here, getting closer and closer. They are just slightly behind the Brits, but it's a very even race so far. And they are moving on to the middle now of the gauntlet. Oh, one soldier's going to run past a hidden German soldier. He probably didn't even see him, but he's made himself very much apparent right now. And I don't think the Soviets are going to let him turn around that corner without getting killed. There we go, as I predicted. How are the Americans doing in Arena 1? They are currently still the last team, but anything can change quickly, guys. Remember, the German defenders can mess up just as much as the attackers. Different weapons perform differently. Of course, the Garand is going to be a deadly weapon at medium to close range. The BAR is an excellent support weapon at long range. So is the Bren. And once again, at a closer range, the Lee Enfield and Mosin is not going to do as well as the semi-automatic Garand. So keep that in mind. And looking at the minimap now, it looks very much even. I do believe the Soviets have made it the furthest so far, but the Americans are going to catch up a lot of ground quickly. We're going to skip to the far right and have a look at the Soviets. Oh. 2 riflemen remaining here. Right in front of the German machine gunner. That is currently down. He's up again now and returning fire. We're looking at a very, very even race in terms of enemy power. 2 remaining German riflemen here in the middle, as well as the machine gunner. And I do believe on the US side of things, we're looking at just 1 more. So the US have just 1 more German to kill until they've made up as much ground, or at least until they've killed as many enemies as the other 2 competing teams. The British are getting very close now. And they are on their way now to the machine gunner. I wonder... Oh, he's prone. Something's happened. Once again, I am completely unbiased. I will never touch or change anything. If a machine gunner gets a jam, I won't help him clear it. If he does this kind of worm thing here, I suppose he's hiding. I suppose he's frightened. Oh, no. He had a problem with his machine gun. Now he's going to reload behind the backs of the Brits, who have now entered the second stage here. They've crossed this black line, and they are about to fight SS men in parade uniforms with black helmets. And, of course, upgraded weaponry. We're talking the STG-44 instead of the MP-40, as well as the MG-42 instead of the MG-34. And don't forget the Gewehr-43 instead of that German K-98. And that's what they're looking at. So the Brits are now in the lead, and the Americans have caught up. They have actually passed the Soviets in terms of ground. I think they have the... No, the Soviets still have the 2 riflemen to kill, and they haven't just gotten past them. Let's see if this M1 Garand can finish that. Oh, he could not. But on the good side of things, troops are moving up. Soviets are still struggling with that MG-34. There are still 2 riflemen down here as well, holding the Soviets at a distance. So they were in the lead for a long time, and now they're not. The Brits are still, however, in the lead. Quite a significant one. This next part, though, is going to be a little bit tricky to deal with unless you do this organized. I think they're awaiting more reinforcements as well. Any soldiers that somehow get outside the arena will have no impact on the battle. I can't I've changed the terrain type. I've added multiple layers of walls. Somehow they still squeeze through. I don't understand how a game works that way, since it's basically just ones and zeros of code. I don't understand, but it's just the charm of this game. Now we're seeing more troops move up at once. This is what they're going to need in order to break through this this German defense. A lot of STGs around the corner, but they're moving up with structure. The Germans are just peeking. They're not really turning around yet. Oh, this could be very bad for the Germans. I don't know why they haven't decided to open fire yet. They seem a little confused. Oh, Oh. Sten gun is going to put fire on one of the soldiers, and he's going to be brought down. It's almost like they came to a bit of a ceasefire for a minute. Do keep in mind, this is a very long corridor, big stretch, and the STG-44s back here are going to be able to engage them as well. But the Lee Enfield at this range, just a devastating weapon, a heavy hitter to say the least. We're going to move back to the American arena, where this MG-34 is still wreaking havoc here on the US attackers. But of course it has to reload, just as any gun. Maybe the US can bring up enough troops now. They only have 2 fighters here. BAR and a Thompson submachine gun. They're not going to get a lot of work done on their own. Maybe. That would be just a very, very fortunate hit if this submachine gunner could put a bullet through that small gap in that bunker section. And the rest of the troops are staying a little bit far back here. They're really massing troops here. It's like the movie Leon with all the SWAT officers in the corridor outside the apartment. That's kind of what this feels like. The Soviets still have 1 rifleman to deal with, and he's down. Classic Diplex. Not the plague, but a Diplex. What do you call that? When it's like a curse. Every troop I look at or talk about dies. It's been a common feature on this channel for all eternity, or as long as I've been doing this game. Okay, but the Brits have definitely established themselves up here. They have cleared this corridor somewhat. There's still an STG-44 around this corner, which they need to bring down. Then I'm unsure if they're going to move through the center, because it's the quickest way to get up. It's also the least problematic one right now, but they have to clear out all the German troops in order to win this. Oh, that's a close shot. Oh, they brought 1 down, but of course we have that MG-42 in the rear, 2 per side, and an accompanying STG-44. They brought him down nicely, though. Oh, what a great shot! That is just one of those shots that can change a lot and save a lot of lives. That MG-42 would have killed a lot of Brits if it had been active. We still have this soldier here with the Gewehr 43 on this side, and he's still causing trouble. So the Americans are definitely last now. They were almost first for a second, but the Soviets have caught up. But they have this part to deal with now that the Brits dealt with a while ago. Those Mosins are just not very accurate right now. He's backing up. He's trying, but he's not getting there. We're going to move over to the British side again. They have done as I predicted, and they've moved down this corridor. Are we going to see some melee? No. But I think it's game over for the Germans defending this part. It's going to be a lot harder, though, as they progress. Oh. The last section of waves have been deployed. The last final 4 are now spawning, and that's going to just add a very big troop influx to the US, who are still quite far back. They need to get through the gauntlet, but the German machine gunner is still alive and well. But I'm seeing more green dots on the map there. That means more US troops have moved up. Oh boy, oh boy. But they're receiving a lot of troops. They're really massing down here. It'd be nice to see some leadership here to encourage the US troops to move up more en masse in numbers. But I reckon just a good, well-placed M1 Garand bullet could just... Well-placed bullet could really just seal the deal. We're going to move over to the far right arena and have a look at the Soviets, who are making good progress, but they still have a few German defenders to deal with here. And I think until we see a major change here... Oh, look at the slaughter. Until we see a major change here on the minimap, we are going to follow the Brits, who are now about to enter the last part of the arena, which is divided into two sections. And it gets increasingly worse. STG-44s, MG-42. Two STG-44s around this final corner. And then, moving up here, we have an additional two STG-44s. And then, the final part, which is to kill the officer and gain victory. Now the Americans are really massing. I think... Oh, we had an issue here with the MG-34, much like the Brits had with their MG-34 gunner. Oh, that was at that range. That was a sealed deal. Now the Americans are catching up. They could truly win this. It is not over by any stretch of the imagination. They have to get through this part, which is tricky. The Soviets are still struggling here. They've moved through the center, but they are far from clearing out this part. We still have both MG-42s active and the additional 4 STG-44s back here. But so far we have no one really covering it, and that is why the center is so important to get through. Oh. No output of any damage. This is truly a race. I'm so excited to see who gets there first. You might think this part is impossible. It is not. Sooner or later, someone is going to mess up. Someone is going to die, and that is going to just decrease the firepower by 33%. Someone's going to have to reload. A gun might jam. You never know. Okay, but the Soviets are now clearing this part. Okay, he's reloading. They're getting troops up. We got the Mosins pinned on him. But what he can do in this small space is just marvelous. Once again, their best bet is going to be clearing out the center, bringing troops up on the flank here, and getting close and really shooting him through one of these holes. Peekaboo. I think it's over for him now. There we go. PPSH is going to seal the deal. And that last MG-42 soldier has really no chance of surviving this, as he's getting surrounded by from all sides now. How are our good Americans doing? Let's see if those M1 Garands can win this back for him now, can take back the lost ground. They are starting to even out with the Soviets. If they can clear this out quickly... And looking at it, it seems like these two guys have died quicker. And there's less dead bodies here in this corridor. I want to see the Garands be really put to use now. Now it's time to shine. Now it's time to shine with that semi-automatic fire. But they're confused because they're being targeted from all direction, and it's just a nightmare. Oh, come on. Put that Thompson to work. There we go. That seemed like a fairly quick ordeal. And there are a lot of troops coming through now. The Brits are through. We missed it, but they're through. They are through. And this is just a third of the size of that corridor. Or a third of a little length. But the Soviets have caught up. The Soviets have caught up. They too have dealt with this threat in a very quick manner. This is going to come down probably to the Brits and Soviets. It is such an even struggle right now. There's only one German soldier separating the two teams now, and he will be dead in a minute. There he is. The Americans are catching up quickly. I can see that on the map. Oh, the Soviets are rushing through now. They're going for it. They want this win for Mother Russia. They really, really do. The Brits have not made any more progress than the Soviets. But we're seeing a lot of troops here. But this is the last out of all the troops they're going to get. The Americans have a lot saved, but they have this first section to clear. There are 2 machine gunners and 4 soldiers remaining. Both of the riflemen have died on both flanks, so they've kind of gone for a varied attack. There we go, nice shot. I think the Garand is definitely right now winning them ground. It was not as efficient at that range. Of course, it's a very capable rifle at range, but in the game, the SMLE and the Mosin is just better. Oh, he was wounded, and he's gonna get up. Oh, and then he's shot dead. There we go, now they're massing through. How are the Soviets doing on their side? They've not really killed this machine gunner, but here they go. This is just such a tight race right now. This is such an even fight. The Brits are just seconds ahead. And it looks like the Russians are moving more infantry through. Oh, blown back by that Mosin. Oh, they're entering the final arena. Who's going to win this? It looks like the Soviets have miraculously caught up so much with the Brits. They've killed the second to last soldier. There's only one STG-44 remaining. He's shot dead. And the Soviets are going to win the game. Having been last for a really long time, the Soviets are through and victorious. The Brits simply could not clear out the last couple of soldiers quickly enough, and they were in the lead for such a long time. Perhaps the PPSH came in for the clutch. Maybe even the Mosin at that range. I'm not exactly sure, but this is going to be secured second placement for the Brits, and I'm sorry to tell you, all the fans and people voting for the American team, but in this particular challenge, it does not seem like the Americans in this game could, could come out victorious. They are still struggling back here. I believe they will clear this third part out and win or secure the third placement. Once again, we're going to compare casualties. And I think we can start doing that soon. There's only one MG gunner here, and then the last couple of layers will be cleared out quickly. But if we look at the casualties down this range, I reckon there's around 4. Moving over to the British side, there's more than double that. And over here on the Soviet side, definitely more than double that. Looking over here, we're going to mark these guys out. Not an overwhelming number of casualties, but definitely a few. The Brits have lost a lot more than, I believe, the other two teams. They've gone really hard. They're going to have less troops remaining by the end of this game. Definitely less than the Soviets, I can tell already. I'm not sure how the Americans have done. Took less casualties here, but they started gaining back here. It'll be interesting to see the landing phase as well. And the gauntlet. The gauntlet is going to be an area to look at for sure. Alright guys, before we take a look at the remaining casualties around the map, my eyes might have deceived me a bit here, because I thought there was a lot more Soviets alive than the Brits, but we could be wrong. The Americans have a total of 43 survivors, so they are definitely the ones that have suffered the most, despite having suffered a lot less in certain sections. The Brits have 72, so that's a big increase, and the Soviets have 78. So they are just a bit ahead. And looking at it, they took around 1 casualty clearing the beach, which is marvelous. Probably put a lot of suppressing fire on those bunkers to keep the MGs down. The British lost a few more, and the Americans definitely lost about 2 or 3 times as many as the Brits. So that really shows they got off to a slower start. Here in the gauntlet, the Brits lost very few, the Soviets lost about double, and the Americans probably lost 3 to 4 times as many, which shows. Then moving up here into the next part, it really just speaks for itself. The Soviets lost a lot here in this section, but I reckon that is a sizable stack. It's about similar to the British one here, although they lost more around this part where the Soviets have more spread out casualties. The Americans lost a similar amount. But The gauntlet here is what separated the teams, definitely. In the end, I think they all dealt with this final sector fairly evenly, despite taking different losses in different parts. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys want to see more, let me know. I really enjoyed making this map and this battle. It's interesting. It's fun. It's nice when it's a competition. It's like a sport. So thank you guys for esports. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys soon again.